What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be talking about sprint out times in Infinite Warfare. I've been getting tons of people asking me, why is there no fast hands or fast hands equivalent in this game that allows you to sprint out faster, because I want to be able to rush around confidently and not worry about sprint out times. And I found out something very interesting with the sprint out times in Infinite Warfare that I want to share with you guys today. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so starting it off, just a quick explanation of what sprint out time is, because there's still some confusion every time I talk about sprint out time. Sprint out time is simply the amount of time it takes to complete the animation between sprinting and firing your gun. And yes, it still applies when you're using Gung Ho. I know with Gung Ho you can fire while sprinting, but there's still a delay between when you pull the trigger and when your gun actually goes off. In Black Ops 3, some guns did get a little bit of a sprint out benefit from running Gung Ho, but the main perk that would help you with this is fast hands. Fast hands would pretty much cut sprint out time in half, but we don't have anything like fast hands in this game. And this has a lot of people worried because they don't want to be punished for rushing, but I found out something really interesting, and that is the sprint out times in this game are extremely fast. If we compare it to Black Ops 3, just because Black Ops 3 is the most fresh in our mind, I know it's a different developer and stuff, but this does hold true for Ghosts as well, at least somewhat. If we compare the sprint out times in this game to Black Ops 3, there is a huge difference. In Infinite Warfare, at least in the current build, which is the beta build right now, the sprint out time is extremely fast without any perks on at all. In this first clip here, we have the Karma SMG, and I don't have Gung Ho or any sort of perks equipped that would affect sprint out time. And the base sprint out time for this gun, tested at 60 frames per second, this is all hand testing, so it's not the hard-coded stats, but based off the hand testing, is 4 to 5 frames, or 67 to 83 milliseconds, somewhere in there. My guess would be 75 milliseconds is the hard-coded number. If we compare this to the SMGs in Black Ops 3, the ones with the faster base sprint out time would sprint out in 250 milliseconds without fast hands. And with fast hands, it would sprint out in approximately 150 milliseconds. We don't have the hard numbers on that, but I did do some hand testing. It was approximately 150 milliseconds. So we can see there is a huge difference here in sprint out times, at least for the SMGs. So I was extremely surprised by this result, but then I was thinking, okay, it's SMGs, I see they wanted to make them really mobile. Let's test an LMG out. So I tested the RAW, or the raw LMG, and I was absolutely blown away at the fact that this LMG sprints out in what appears to be exactly the same amount of time as the Karma SMG. Now, obviously, it's the beta, so I didn't want to bother testing absolutely every gun at this point. We will do more testing once the game comes out, but if we're just comparing the Karma to the raw LMG, they appear to have the exact same base sprint out time, and it's extremely fast. There's almost no penalty for being caught sprinting in this game. Now, of course, I didn't want to just leave it at this. I wanted to see what Gung Ho would do to this number. And I was really surprised to find out that Gung Ho will make your sprint out time even faster, but I would say it's not really necessary. Based on my testing, it takes approximately 50 milliseconds, or 3 frames, in order to sprint out if you're running Gung Ho with both the Karma as well as the raw LMG. So yes, Gung Ho does decrease your sprint out time a little bit, but is it really noticeable? Is it really worth it? If you're just using it to decrease sprint out time, no. You're not going to be noticing that 1 to 2 frame difference. So it looks like in this game, sprint out time is pretty much a non-issue. We don't have to worry about a fast hands perk or anything like that, which I do like in a sense, but I am a little bit confused about balancing the classes together with sprint out time. It would normally make sense to have an LMG, for instance, take longer to sprint out, because it's designed to be like heavy and clunky and not really designed to be sprinting around with or anything. And I feel SMGs should gain that advantage over them, that little bit of a sprint out time advantage. Now, having said this, I do feel like this was actually a conscious design decision on their part. They want the sprint out times to be a non-issue, not something you have to worry about. Every gun is equal in that sense, but then you have to deal with things like hip spread. So while the SMG and the LMG can sprint out in the exact same amount of time, the LMG has a much wider hip spread, so therefore the SMG still carries that advantage in those situations up close where you sprint into each other, basically. Also, aim down sight time is still going to be different between the classes, so SMGs tend to aim down sight much faster than an LMG would, and therefore that accounts for that balance. Either way, whether this is an intentional design decision by the developers or if it was an oversight by the developers, it is going to have some relatively serious impacts on the game. First off, it rewards aggressive playstyles. Before, if you were overly aggressive and you got caught sprinting, especially when you were carrying something like an LMG over an SMG, you were punished for it. Now, not so much. I mean, you still have to deal with your aim down sight time, so if you are carrying an LMG, it is going to take you longer to get aim down sight and actually accurate with your gun. But you can sprint out nearly instantly, and you might hit a couple lucky hipfire shots as you're transitioning into aiming down sight. The other big implication of this, and the one that I actually kind of like, is there's no crutch perk that affects your sprint out time. Before, if you wanted to be at least somewhat aggressive, fast hands is what I would consider to be a crutch perk. Simple fact was, if you happen to be sprinting while an enemy was also sprinting at you and you come face to face with them, the person with fast hands is going to win that gunfight 9 times out of 10. So fast hands did become a crutch perk for anybody that wanted to be relatively aggressive, and we don't have to deal with that in this game. So there we have it. That's going to wrap it up for today's video. I'd like to know what you guys think about this buffed sprint out time for all of the weapons. Do you like the fact that you can sprint out nearly instantly? Do you also like the fact that SMGs and LMGs, for instance, sprint out at the exact same amount of time? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.